what's going on, everybody? This is John Shake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the NCSL Dynasty here on NCAA 14, and also featuring that college football revamp as well. We are deep into year number 4 as we are well across that halfway mark. Most teams playing more than 6 games at this point, and a lot of conference championship races starting to heat up in this episode. We're also going to get our fair share of top 25 matchups, and not to mention what I'm really excited for, some studio updates and some other box scores that are happening across the country as well. So very exciting episode. I got 16, count it, 16 nationally televised games coming your way shortly, but I hope you enjoy the whole ride because I'm going to enjoy it with you. With that being said, if you're excited for this video, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel and you love the vibes around here. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time and let's check on some of these games that are happening around the country. Let's get it. Alright boys, so let's go ahead and get week number 9 officially underway. And we will start with Notre Dame traveling on the road to take on the undefeated Huskies of Northern Illinois, as the Gab is looking to be rocking for this key action, as Northern Illinois is going to start with taking the lead here in the first quarter. Lance Brown is going to find the end zone, and that triple option, at least early on, is working very effectively for this Northern Illinois squad. There are a few teams in the country that do run that triple option, but boy are they effective at it. That doesn't mean they can't pass that football either, because they set up the screen and Lance Tate will pick up that first down through the air. So a goal line situation for NIU as they're going to look to punch it in with their fullback, and they will, with Lance Tate. Touchdown Huskies. And Northern Illinois will have the lead, and they might be extending this lead here pretty soon as they force the second turnover on Greg Hunt. He does end up throwing his second interception of the season. So goal line situation coming off of the interception. In Northern Illinois, they are going to cash it in right away as John Cross will fire in the middle of the end zone and get himself a touchdown. So Notre Dame finds itself down 21-10 at the half, but coming out of the halftime locker room, Notre Dame might have found that groove a little bit as Notre Dame finds itself on the goal line themselves, looking to get closer to evening up that score. And it looks like we're going to be in for a tight one through this second half. Very tight throughout the second half. It's only a 4-point game still, but Notre Dame is driving yet again. 3 minutes left to play here in the ball game as Greg Hunt lines up in the shotgun formation. It's a fake handoff. Play action. He's got time, and he will find Travis Coleman for the end zone. And a heartbreaking loss for Northern Illinois, who suffers their first loss of the season. Meanwhile, we'll go to a team that is inexplicably not ranked, even though it's a big name program. And also they have the Heisman Trophy winner in Nakamura, as Nakamura is going to set up a nice shovel pass. You know, when you ever see those shovel passes called in NCAA, at least in 14, it usually isn't run very well by the CPU at all. But hey, sometimes it's lucky to be, better to be lucky than it is to be good. Clemson finds the end zone there, and they get on the board that way. Speaking of getting on the board, looks like Clemson is trying to do that exact same thing here yet again, as Clemson gets down onto the goal line, as Nakamura is going to hand it off to Allen Grant, who runs over a defender. Touchdown Clemson. They do end up missing the extra points, so they only get 6 points instead of 7. However, I don't think that 1 point is going to be much of an issue in this ball game, because Clemson is simply dominating NC State right now, up 20-0. Nakamura looking for another score on the ground. He only has 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. A sneaky good athlete there in Clemson. as they'll see if they go to the well again on a 2nd and goal. They're going to hand it off, and Courtney Thompson is going to walk it in. Nobody even dares touch this guy, and Clemson is going to run away with it. Clemson gets a big-time win, 69-14, as they continue to build their case to finally get ranked. Meanwhile, we have a few other games happening around the country, but none as big as USC taking on number 5 Hawaii. That'll probably be one of the biggest games in Hawaii's history. But before we get to that, we have a couple of other games happening around the country. In the Big Ten, for example, we have Ohio State just trying its best right now to remain in the top 25. They got blown out by Miami last week, and now they're going to be looking to bounce back against another former MAC team in the Rockets of Toledo. We're in Toledo, Ohio for this game, by the way. And at first, it is a little bit of a closer game, a one-score game after a quarter and a half, but Ohio State, and this is why I'm shocked that they already have a couple of those head-scratching losses already, is that Ohio State has the elite talent. They legitimately do, so I'm shocked to see them in this kind of state. Brooks Hicks, meanwhile, has all the time in the world and finds Michael Charles eventually. That's how Brooks Hicks gets his first passing touchdown. So it does seem like Ohio State is beginning to pull away here, as Brooks Hicks will again fire towards the back of the end zone. And I'm not sure what he was thinking there. 85 was clearly out of the end zone, so even if he would have caught that, that would have been illegal touching. So, yeah, instead, Toledo does get an interception, but it is just an absolute slaughter that is still happening right now. Ohio State really enforcing their will on the Toledo Rockets right now, both through the air and on the ground as well, as Brooks Hicks, another one of those quarterbacks that can absolutely, positively do both. And now it's a 28-10 lead. A couple plays later, as they're looking to line it up again with Jonathan Sherman, and the Sherman tank finds the end zone. Touchdown, Buckeyes. And Ohio State runs away with this one as well, winning 45-10 here in the Big Ten. Meanwhile, keeping it in the Big Ten, but moving over to that Hoosier division, we got Michigan, number 6 in the country, taking on an unranked Miami team, but Miami's failing themselves a little bit. They got that big win against Ohio State, doing it in the horseshoe, by the way, and now they come to the big house looking to do the exact same thing. This was a closer game last year, one that Michigan ended up winning ultimately. We'll see if this Miami team can finally get over the hump, as we find themselves down 14-0, but they have a red zone possession on their hands as well, one that perhaps they can actually cash in. 2nd and 4 with 2 minutes left to play in the first half, as we're going to have a handoff up the right-hand side to Eddie Gatewood, and Eddie Gatewood will find the end zone. Touchdown, Redhawks! And we got ourselves a one-possession game after all. However, does that leave too much time for an explosive Michigan offense, as Junior Blaylock is going to hand it off to the dynamic tailback, who will push the Wolverines across midfield. And Michigan will continue their strong drive. 2nd and 4 coming up, but deeper in Miami territory, as he will find Brett Dawson for a first down, and getting out of bounds as well to preserve those 2 timeouts. That could play a role here towards the end of the first half, as I thought Brett Dawson had the end zone there. They're going to mark him at like the 1-inch line, and inside the 1, it's a foregone conclusion. Junior Blaylock is going to keep it himself, and Michigan will extend the lead before the half. As for the Miami Redhawks, they're just trying their best to keep themselves in this game, but a red zone opportunity here late in the 3rd quarter of action could see the Redhawks get right back into the game. 2nd and 5 coming up after a nice little run. They're going back on the ground, setting up the triple option, and 12 is by himself, and it's going to be counted as a passing touchdown for Chris Waller. Hey, I'm sure they're not going to complain either way. A touchdown is a touchdown. However, even with that score, it still looks like Michigan is on the verge of putting this game away once and for all. 24-14 is your score, as Blaylock will hand it off to the fullback. That is Stephen Thomas, that is going to get the handoff at the fullback position, and Michigan should put this away unless there is a miracle that takes place here in the next few minutes. They might need some onside kicks, even if they do score on this particular possession, which granted is not a guarantee because they've only scored 14 thus far. However, William Mathis will find the end zone, but it'll be too little too late though, as Michigan will still end up winning. Therefore, they'll still remain undefeated on the year. But now let's go ahead and jump into arguably one of the biggest games of week number 9. Number 1, USC traveling to Honolulu, going to the Maui Island and taking on number 5, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. This has massive Pacific Conference Division implications. Winner controls their own destiny. USC looking to take control late in the first quarter as a nice run over to right inside. He is continuing to break tackles, finally forced out of bounds, but Jacob James with a 30-plus yard run. Oh my, that is a certified bad man, but he won't get the chance to punch it into the end zone. Instead, they will end up handing it off to Kyle Robinson, who gets the first points on the board for the USC Trojans. However, later on, we will end up seeing, Matt Sullivan finding the end zone for USC. The backup tailback gets some work in, and USC now has a 14-0 lead. So it's an imperative for Mike Pierre and company to try and come out here and get some points on the board. Good Lord, has it been a struggle thus far for Hawaii and company. A sack certainly doesn't build any confidence as they're facing second and long. Pierrevo is going to let it fly down the left-hand side, and he's going to find Justin Duncan in the end zone. Touchdown, Hawaii, and the Rainbow Warriors are letting that thing fly as the Rainbow Warriors torch the USC secondary, and they're showing why they're the number 5 team in all of America. However, USC beating the number 1, beating the heavyweight champion is never an easy task to accomplish, as once again USC will find the end zone. Patrick Hill will have his very first touchdown reception of his college career. And guys, as the kids would say, I think USC is cooking here. But wait a minute now. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished. Hawaii gets an interception on the back end. And now if Hawaii can find the end zone, they're back into the game again. Pierre with a clean pocket fires, and he's going to find his man, Derek Walker, who does the rest of the work. Mike Pierre, in a game where his offense has struggled tremendously, he has been phenomenal. 227, 2 touchdowns, but it won't be enough though, as number 5 Hawaii, they will fall to the number 1 team in all of college football, 21-14, and USC controls their own destiny. So with that being said, we got some studio updates from around the country as we see UCLA able to take down San Diego State 41-24. The defending national champions keeping themselves alive for now in that Pacific Division title race. But then how about Stanford as well? Stanford on a little bit of a hot streak too. They beat Fresno State 31-19. Fresno State on a 4-game losing streak. They might be cooked. Meanwhile, the Cougars are cooking over in their home stadium as they were in a shootout against Texas A&M. But the Houston Cougars will prevail, and they're going to make a case to be ranked as well. Finally, with that being said, we got more games coming your way. It is an absolute festivity of games happening around the country. Namely, we got the biggest cocktail party coming up shortly. But first, we go live into the country roads. Well, we have the Battle of the Coal Mines rivalry between West Virginia and Marshall. Marshall winning this a couple of times in this series, but West Virginia, them boys might be back. This is the first time they've been ranked since season number 1. And it's all because of Taylor Steffens. The FCS transfer, he has been being a steady hand for West Virginia throughout the course of this season. And Zach Morris is going to find the end zone here as well. So West Virginia will make quick work of the Thundering Herd as the Mountaineers had a slaughtering 44-3. Meanwhile, we go out to the Conference USA, a key Northeastern battle matchup as Penn State travels to the city of brotherly love to take on the Owls of Temple. Temple coming off of a tough loss last week against Pittsburgh. And that being said, they're now taking on Penn State, and this quarterback is throwing some dimes. Good Lord, is that not an easy throw to make? He just accomplished that with absolute ease. Oh, baby! Is that a certified bad man? And so is this running back, Troy Thompson, just bouncing off defenders right now. He almost finds the end zone off of that. Instead, it's going to be a goal line opportunity where Daniel, he's going to run out to the right, and he will punch it in. Another touchdown for the Nittany Lions. However, Temple is not going to give up so easily as the Temple Owls will proceed to drive down the length of the field themselves. And they will actually also answer the bell too. Matter of fact, before we go into halftime, Temple does have a chance to take the lead before we do end up going into that halftime locker room. As now, less than 30 seconds left in the first half. Temple at about midfield throws to the left-hand side. He's going to be able to pick up the first down, if only just barely. But time management might become an issue here as Temple's got to snap this ball quickly. He's not going to get down. He's not. Oh, he would have been better served going down. He fumbles it too. Oh, no. He fumbles the ball too. Oh, that is a disgrace. That is disgraceful. Had that timeout in the back pocket, but refused to go down. Could have missed out on a potential Hail Mary shot. But you know, as the kids would say, it is what it is at this point. So, 14-10 at the half. It remains the same score for much of the third quarter, but with less than a couple of minutes left, we finally see our first score of the entire second half. However, they do end up missing the extra point, so it is only ends up being a 10-point differential. But big drive coming up here. Temple cannot afford to give up another touchdown if they want to have any chance on coming back and winning this thing. However, Daniel Williams looking for the dagger. No. He's going to be just short of goal line. He's going to be just short at first down marker. But at second and short, they could pick up the first down without scoring. That, however, will not be necessary, though, as Corey Carter is going to find the end zone. Temple is in some serious trouble here. Jeffries, however, looking to will Temple back into the game. He has a nice throw. Really throws it to only where his guy can make a play. And Patrick Madsen, he's been making a lot of plays today. We'll see if they go back to him. No, instead they go to the option over to the left-hand side. But they get that same desired result. Anyhow, Temple finds the end zone there, and that will make it a 10-point game. I would imagine at this point they will go for the 2-point conversion, which they will. Trying to run it on the ground, and Dan Johnson able to punch it in. It's just a one-possession game. But Penn State has a chance to shut the door, though. After a failed... Actually, it was a game in which Temple ended up kicking off here, which is a real surprise to me because of how much time was left on the clock. But, you know, Temple made their bed, and now they got to go lay in it another touchdown, which means this thing is probably going to be over at this point. However, there's going to be a late score here. Less than 30 seconds left. It's going to make the score look a little bit easier on the eyes if you're pulling for Temple. But no, they'll even with the 2-point conversion, they got to go for the onside kick, and they fail to get it. So Penn State wins this one 33-26, which does make them bowl eligible. That being said, we'll now head ourselves over to the Midwest, where number 12 Minnesota is going to be hosting Missouri. Missouri coming off a win in the border war last episode. Minnesota, meanwhile, trying to not only chase Nebraska, but solidifying their case for an at-large bid in the college football playoff, just in case they don't make it into that conference championship game. Golden Gophers will need to win out. Got to win their next 5 games. Can Missouri be a perfect little stopgap for that from happening, though? Now that would certainly be that $1 million question. Second and goal coming up for the Missouri Tigers. Hang on now. Missouri's going to tie this thing in the second quarter, and this is kind of how Missouri wants to play. Missouri, another one of those teams that does use that triple option offense. They're trying to limit those possessions, and they want to turn every single game that they play in, at least since we've been watching them in gameplay. They want to make sure it gets turned into a rock fight, and so far they've been somewhat effective at it. Granted, Daniel Parker will find the end zone, but even with that, Minnesota and Missouri, this is still a relatively tight game we have going on here. However, in the second half, Minnesota remembers who they were, and eventually that dam was going to burst. Minnesota, one of the better offenses in college football, and yet here we are, Minnesota with a chance to score again. Harrison looking to pitch it. No, he's going to keep it, and that seems like a proper decision, as that will give the Golden Gophers a first down. As now Harrison will drop back to pass. Looking over the middle, but is going to be brought down by Sam Lacey. He gets his first sack of the day. Usually don't get defensive highlights, but got to show a little bit of love to that defense every once in a while. That being said, though, Corey Smith able to pick up a gain of 6. Can Missouri get that goal line stand? It's going to be close, but Missouri cannot keep him out of the end zone. Ultimately, touchdown, Golden Gophers. And Minnesota will now make this a 31-7 lead. And just 5 minutes to play in the game as well. But Missouri, they know who they are. They're still sticking with the triple option. I'm surprised that they're not trying to spread it out a little bit. They got a nice receiver in Lane Tybergian. They don't go to his direction and ends up getting intercepted. So Minnesota is going to come out and win this one 31-7 as they keep their at-large hopes alive for the college football playoff. Speaking of that college football playoff implications, let's go down to sunny Miami, Florida, where number 2 Miami, well, they're taking on a fellow in-state opponent in UCF. And UCF, a different caliber program, to put it nicely. UCF just won their first game of the season last week, and now they gotta go play this Miami team to try to keep its bowl hopes alive. Best of luck to the UCF Knights. However, late in the first quarter, they're playing just fine. UCF does get into the red zone, but now that they're here, they got to convert in the red zone with their offense, and they will. Jamar Rice finds the end zone. We will have ourselves a tie game, but how long will that actually last, though? That is indeed that $1 million question. Caleb Kirk is going to punch it into the end zone there. That's a touchdown for the Hurricanes, as Miami will make it 24-7. As for what we got going on for UCF, well, UCF wants to try to add just a few more points onto the board before we go to half. This should do it. And a 10-point lead. You know, Miami is still on top, but that deficit is navigatable. UCF can certainly come back from this if they don't run out of juice. But you know what UCF does in the second half? Well, they do exactly what I told them not to do. They ran out of juice, and Miami is going to look to pull away. 20-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Not looking good for UCF. If they lose this game, they will have zero chance of going to a bowl game either. So a tough time to be alive for sure. However, UCF fires to the back of the end zone thought this could have been considered incomplete. I was surprised to see that was not reviewed. Doesn't change the results by any means, but a very interesting call nonetheless. Now, we head out slightly up north to check in on what's going on with North Carolina. North Carolina recently fell out of the top 25, but then we see this Wake Forest team that has been flying under the radar, having a nice first half of the season, 4-2. Maybe this win could go out and give them a little bit more attention. You'll get them on national TV a little bit more often. Danny Bates, on the other hand, has other plans. Going to set up the halfback screen beautifully to his teammate Andy Jackson. And we will have ourselves a tied game. Midway through the second quarter, though, Wake Forest looking to break the tie as they find themselves in the red zone. They'll find Michael Treengine, who gets his third catch of the afternoon. Very next play, though, as Wake Forest looks to build off that momentum. Got plenty of time in his pocket. Look at this. All day to throw, and is eventually going to find the running back that leaks out of the backfield. Touchdown, Demon Deacons. And Josh Jackson doing a good job navigating this Wake Forest offense. The FCS transfer, he has certainly been going to work so far as he's continuing to stay on his feet. A huge first down for the Carolina Tar Heels as they look to tie. Bates trying to run it up the gut, and he's going to try to reach that football out. Will be a little bit short, so North Carolina will use their second timeout. They only have one left, which might be pivotal if they get another possession, but they get the desired result. We have a fun one here on the Wake Forest campus right now. Matter of fact, it remains tight. It remained close the entire time. Just goes to show that these two teams, while some getting more media attention than others, these two teams are actually very closely matched. But North Carolina has a chance to close. They could run out the clock, and instead they throw it. And they throw a screen. And the screen turns into an interception. And that interception turns into a touchdown. And that lead for North Carolina, that's gone. It is now officially gone, like a girl in a country song. So, instead of North Carolina taking the kneels downs and running the rest of his clock out, all of a sudden, they got to go drive not too far. I would imagine probably 20 to 30 yards in order to get into field goal range. If they want to go for overtime, they got 50 plus yards to go if they want to win this thing in regulation. Bates moving the tight end over to the right. He drops back. Clean pocket's going to dump it off to his tailback, who's going to pick up the first down and will stay on his feet until he gets dropped from behind at about the 40-yard line. So, needing one more first down, and then North Carolina will likely be in field goal range, and there it is. There's the first down to Joey Bauer. North Carolina is in field goal range. How do they play the rest of this out, though? A couple plays later, Bates trying to scramble to the outside. He wants to get to that corner, and he's going to put the ball on the ground. The ball is on the ground, and Wake Forest is going to recover. 2 consecutive drives that end in Danny Bates turnovers. And North Carolina is cooked. Wake Forest pulls off a stunning victory. But now we head ourselves over to the biggest cocktail party in America right now. Biggest cocktail party internationally. It's the world's biggest cocktail party between Georgia and the Florida Gators. Here's how the SEC is shaping up right now, as Miami is controlling their own destiny, but so is Georgia. Georgia looking to lock things up even further in the Peach Division, as a win and a Georgia Tech loss could really virtually lock it for Georgia. In Georgia, they came out and they were ready to play. Frederick Mueller in particular, one of your guys' customs, bro, was balling out, faced some pressure. And how about Tim Green staying with that pass when it was deflected in the air? This Georgia team is certainly off to a hot start. In the Octavian Kador legacy game, it's not going so well. It really isn't. He has really underperform expectations here as the first-year starter for the Florida Gators. As there he is putting the ball on the ground, as we do end up seeing Octavian Kador not only having his offense off to a slow start, but also giving Georgia the ball virtually in the red zone. And when you do those kinds of things, I mean, it's just automatic. It is absolutely automatic for arguably one of the best teams in America. And we saw that in full force. But that doesn't mean that they're without flaws, as in the second half, Frederick Muir throws an interception, and it nearly gets taken back to the crib by Kevin Silva. So Florida has a golden opportunity to get back into the game, and on a 3rd and goal, halfback screen is set up to perfection, and Eric Boyd will find the end zone. Touchdown Gators. Kador not too bad with his stats, he just hasn't had those critical plays. That is one for his bag though. They don't go for the 2-point conversion, so it's an 8-point game. So now Frederick Muir looking to live past the interception he threw previously, and he does. Throws it to Robert London, and with less than 2 minutes left to play, trying to just run out the clock. But then Elliott Hartman finds a massive hole, runs right through the Gators defense, and Elliott Hartman will help the Georgia Bulldogs put up a 40 burger of all things. And so at this point, both teams are just trying to go home. That's why they run the ball. But then Eric Boyd is able to push it for 37. So Florida's going to get a garbage touchdown here late. But let's talk about what Jake Jacobs did here today. That was a brilliant performance for Jake Jacobs, the defensive coordinator. The offense was humming along at all cylinders as well. It's just a complete game for Georgia as they demolish number 18 Florida this one. So just a couple more games remaining as we now go to the Battle of the Interstate between Oklahoma State and Tulsa. Both of these teams struggling through this season right now, so a win could be really helpful for both of these squads right about now as they just try to keep themselves alive to get into a bowl game. You know, there's some programs just want that. You know, they're not worried about the college football playoff or, you know, winning in these new conference championships or anything like that. They just want to have some good old-fashioned bowl games, you know, just want to have that kind of nice little celebration at the end of the season. Nothing wrong with that. Well, both these teams need a win here if they actually want to go about making that happen here, as Oklahoma State will fire over the middle and find Zach McKenzie for the end zone. That will be a touchdown for your Cowboys, as Oklahoma State actually does have one of your guys' custom coaches as well. So you do love to see that for Oklahoma State trying to be successful for sure. It's Caleb Huffman that is one of your guys' custom coaches. But still a pretty close game here in the Battle of the Interstate, as Oklahoma State is up 10-7. But you would think it would be a much more of a difference with the way that Tulsa has been turning this football over. That is their 3rd turnover that they have right about now. And so we'll see if this time Oklahoma State can use that to possibly pick up this first down, as the Cowboys will quickly get to the line of scrimmage. Less than a minute and a half left to play in the first half as they go with the option. And their quarterback's got some wheels, man. Gotta have some wheels in modern college football for sure, as Jason Green will pick up the first down. However, 1st and 10 coming up, as looking over the middle of the field, you got a nice little receiver in Max Henry, who now gets him down onto the goal line. And the Cowboys can now go ahead and take their time if they want to do that. And they will. They get some time off the clock. And Jason Green will also get his 2nd passing touchdown on the first half as well. And it seems like after that moment, this offense for Oklahoma State, well, they just start to go crazy. It becomes a turkey shoot in terms of who can find more dynamic ways to get into that end zone, as OK State will pull away, but not before a late touchdown with less than 2 minutes left to play. in the ball game. They're going to put up that 40 burger. They're going to beat Tulsa. You love beating your rivals in these types of regular season games. And it's just a confidence booster for the Cowboys, as Oklahoma State's going to win this thing 40-27 as your final score. So some more studio updates coming our way. While that was going on, Illinois, we've been following Illinois closely this year, and the Fighting Illini showing why they continue to show why they're ranked. A gutsy win over Louisville as they win in Kentucky in a shootout. So the last 4 games that we have going on here in this episode is multiple top 25 teams going in action, but 2 teams that have struggled, but in different ways, is Alabama and Tennessee. Tennessee has been a massive disappointment this season, just has been absolutely down horrendous. Alabama, on the other hand, they're 5-2, but Alabama just simply has not been very exciting. They've always turned games into rock fights, and it would be different if they had like a triple option offense, but Alabama has almost become what we've known that of Iowa being in real life. I don't know why I was having a hard time getting that out. It was like trying to say Iowa and Hawaii at the exact same time. We'll see if this game plays out in a similar manner, though, as Max Richard, he's going to throw over the middle. He's got his receiver, Jamie Rogers, and they will go ahead and pick up the first down. So, first and goal for the Crimson Tide, as they're going to run it up the gut to their fullback, Marquise Daniels. You always got to love that little fullback love. And you'll also love to see this precise throw over to the left-hand side that allowed Tennessee to reclaim the lead. Tennessee, however, does fail to hit the extra point. Hopefully, that extra point doesn't come back to bite them, especially in a game like this, where scoring it has absolutely been such a premium all night long in the rain here in Knoxville, Tennessee, as Quentin Lake never went down. He never went down at any point. And so Alabama, well, they do miss the extra point. They get a field goal later on. So suddenly, that matters. That really does matter. Granted, it won't change much anyways, because Tim Landrum is going to throw another key interception late. He's absolutely beside himself right now. And Alabama does end up winning yet another rock fight. The Crimson Tide win in a close one on the road. But we do get some better weather out in Texas, though, as Oklahoma is getting set to take on Texas Tech. Oklahoma back into the top 25. Welcome back, Sooners. While Texas Tech, on the other hand, well, Texas Tech sucks. Texas Tech is really bad. There's no better way to put this. This Texas Tech team is not good, which is why I'm actually shocked right now that they're in this game at the moment. These are programs that are on 2 separate entities at the moment. They have been down horrendous. But Texas Tech, hang on now. Hold up. Wait a minute. Texas Tech has a chance to actually take this lead here. We'll see if they do just that with less than 3 minutes left to play here in this first half, as quarterback's going to spin off one defender, pitches it out where his running back's got some green space, and Micah Hunter will be given forward progress. Because he was given forward progress, they will end up picking up that first down. Meanwhile, that being said, the Texas Tech Raiders are going to go back to work, as they're one of the fastest teams in the country. Maybe they should be ones to slow it down, because on this very next play here, quarterback's going to have a chance to throw over to the left-hand side and throws it up into double coverage. Yeah, absolutely hate to see it. And so Texas Tech still finds itself down at the half. But in the second half, they're going to try to work back into the game, though, as Joe Hall will make a nice catch in the red zone to put the Red Raiders inside the 5-yard line. But can Stanley Foster finish, though? First and goal from about the 5-yard line. They get back to the line. It's going to be an option play. Over to the left-hand side. Foster breaks the tackle and wills his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Red Raiders. And so Texas Tech is right back in it, but in the fourth quarter, Oklahoma is certainly looking to put that nail in the coffin. Really not trying to lose this game after they did all of this work that they've did to get back into the top 25 after they were embarrassed early on the season against Washington. Rough look, but Jordan Mitchell, he certainly has been playing better since that particular game, and it's showing on the field. It's certainly showing on the field. Jordan Mitchell is showing that he's got more confidence for sure, but still only up by 10, so this thing isn't completely over, especially if the Red Raiders can score here. Especially if they can score here. Less than 3 minutes left to play in the ball game. Foster rolls out to the right. He's got some time, and he's going to find Terry Watson, who was all alone in the end zone. Touchdown, Texas Tech. And so, if Texas Tech can stop here, this could get very interesting very quickly, as Dante Stevens will make the catch for the first down. And now it looks like the Red Raiders, you would think they would start using their timeouts, but they haven't done that yet. They have not used their timeouts at all. But wait, Texas Tech gets a fumble recovery, and the Red Raiders are going to start out in field goal range. So if they can make this field goal, here we go. Can they force overtime? They do! We will likely have overtime here in Sooner Country. Oh, baby. Do we have a massive upset on our hands right now? First overtime. Throwing over to the right-hand side, and it's a dot to Josh Daniels. Touchdown, Oklahoma. They do miss the extra point, though, so Texas Tech can score and get the extra point. It could be over. Foster looking over to the left-hand side. He's going to run for it, and he'll pick up the first down inside the 10-yard line. So just less than 15 yards away from trying to potentially win this game, but Foster takes a sack. Foster takes a critical sack, and it's 4th and forever now. What is Texas Tech going to draw up in the final play of the game? Firing to the left-hand side, but he gets out of bounds. He gets out of bounds. He cannot maintain control. And Oklahoma is just barely going to survive this. Meanwhile, out in the bayou, the LSU Tigers are going to travel up to Arkansas. We're going to take on the Red Wolves of Arkansas, and this is a very decent football team. You know, this bayou division has been one of the more open divisions since we've done this geographical realignment thing. It's been really intriguing to watch. However, LSU looks to be the favorite right now to possibly win that Bayou division. Arkansas, their big brother in the state of Arkansas, by the way, also certainly in that title picture as well for the Bayou division. But for now, listen, it's just better to be lucky than it is to be good, because I'm going to be honest, I have absolutely no idea how Arkansas State does not come away with that fumble. I truly don't. And it was just that kind of day for the Red Wolves. It was that kind of day where Arkansas State gets taken to the woodshed as LSU wins easy. So an absolutely easy win for LSU. An easy win will likely not be coming here in this top 25 matchup. Washington comes in ranked in the top 25. Cal surprisingly comes in ranked in the top 25. They're 16th in the country in the polls, even though they're below 500. But if Cal can win this game against Washington, they could be in the driver's seat for the Northwestern Division Championship title. That would take them to the Pac-12 championship game at the end of the season. So, even though Cal already has 4 losses, they still have a lot to play for. But it's a must-win, though, if they want to have any shot of going to the playoff. Because Cal needs to win the conference. Cal needs to win the conference at this point if they want to go to the college football playoff. After being the last team out, by the way. Cal was very close to making it in last year as an at-large. So to see them like this, it's hard to watch. It has absolutely been hard to watch. Cal, I don't know what's going on with Cal. I mean, I knew there might be a step back, but to be 3-4, ew. That just straight up gives me the ick. I'm not going to lie to you. But Tyler Green is going to find the end zone. He will get a touchdown out of this. And SoCal is back in the game, playing in a really hostile environment up here in Seattle, Washington. But Washington has a chance to really pull away here in this first half, and they will do precisely that. Sean Peterson finds the end zone. Washington hasn't thrown the ball very much here in this first half, but when they have, they've been very effective. Scott Johnson, the quarterback for the Huskies, he's hit on 11 of his first 12 passes. That's what I talk about. Bona fide efficiency here in this ball game against the California Golden Bears. But the Golden Bears are not feeling so shiny. Oh no, not at all. Washington is going to score yet again. That could be the ultimate dagger, as down by 24, 6.5 minutes left to play. They need a spark. Can they get it from their kick return game? He gets some blocks. He's untouched. He's got the last block that he's needed. Now it's turned to a foot race, and this is a foot race that he doesn't lose. 100 yards for Trey Price, and California is going to score again here in the second half. Oh, baby, they need this. They needed that in the worst way, and they got it. But not only will they score a touchdown on that kick return, they will also go for the 2-point conversion. And it's key that they get that 2-point conversion, because that makes it just a 2-possession ball game. So now, if Washington doesn't score here, it gets very interesting, especially now that we also see Scott Johnson taking a big sack from Antonio Ridikowski. That is just a phenomenal last name by the CPU-generated players. But further along, though, Scott Johnson's going to throw over to the right-hand side. He's going to be intercepted. Cal has the ball yet again. This could go the distance as well. He will not make a cut to get away from that offensive lineman. But Michael Bass giving life and breathing life into Cal right now. Let's see if Cal can take full advantage of the opportunity bestowed upon them. Less than 4 minutes left to play. It's going to be a handoff up the gut, and they're going to score. Trey Price is going to score yet again. Touchdown, Golden Bears. And another 2-point conversion here makes it a 1-possession game. Can they convert? Trying to run it up the gut one more time, and he's just short. He will fall short of the goal line, and that will be as close as California gets, as they will fall. Washington wins 34-21 and control their destiny in the Northwest now. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look around the country to see what other notable games happened while we're focused on those nationally televised games happening throughout the country. And how about Florida State? Florida State continue to be one of the best teams in the country that might not be in a conference championship, as they put up a very nice 69-point outing against the Georgia State Panthers, who are on the verge of missing a bowl game yet again. That being said, you also have to keep an eye out for the Buffaloes of Colorado. Colorado is officially going to be going bowling as they win 48-0 against the Air Force Falcons. Colorado will be looking to compete for another Mountain West title. As for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska, they will be able to go ahead and bounce back, as Nebraska is able to beat up Kansas 48-21, being your final score. That being said, the Army Black Knights were in action as they went on the road to take on the Orange of Syracuse. And Army will sneak into the top 15 here thanks to this 32-16 victory, as they start out 3-1 here in Conference USA. The Rice Owls, however, are looking to be a team to make it to the college football playoff, as Rice beats up UTEP 44-13, which does officially make the Rice Owls a number 4 team in the country right now. As for TCU is going to get the 6-1, but you wonder about their offense moving forward. Playing a little bit of that early 2020s Iowa football, they are able to beat San Jose State 16-3. And of course, we have the Wisconsin Badgers. The Wisconsin Badgers continue to prove that they are better than what their ranking shows. They're going to bounce back here as they blew out Bowling Green here 52-10, as the Badgers are now 8-1 here in year number 4. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the top 25 rankings are looking like now that we are getting into the last month of the season. And at this point of the year, there isn't much change here. The only exception here within this top 10 is that we do see Hawaii fall within a couple of spots. Their schedule does not get any easier as they'll take on Washington on the road. They just got that big win against Cal. In other news, Utah moves up a couple of spots. They're still undefeated, but they're only sitting at number 11 in the country. They'll take on BYU next week in the Holy War, a game we'll actually go out and see as well, so you do love to see that. Washington moves up a couple of spots after they beat California, so you like to see that. Nebraska moves up 3 spots to number 16 in the nation, as does the Ohio State Buckeyes. However, Northern Illinois is going to drop like a rock, though. They're going to be on bye this week, but they dropped 7 spots after a heartbreaking loss to Notre Dame. That was their first loss of the season. And then, of course, rounding out your group, you got some one-loss teams in TCU and Wisconsin. The Razorbacks at number 21 as well. Oklahoma gets up to number 22. West Virginia ekes up to number 23 in the country. And then you have 2 teams that are coming back in Alabama, who will take on LSU, and the Texas Longhorns, who are back in at number 25 in the entire country. So a riveting week number 9, but now it gets real. We are starting to enter the final month of the regular season, where conference championship berths become a lot more prevalent. It's been an exciting year number 4, but we're going to find out in this next few episodes who's going to be a part of that college football playoff and compete for the ultimate prize that is a national championship. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, though, and if you did, I need you to go ahead and do a couple of things for me. Go ahead and smack that like button for me, and then also hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off, but hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.